folks, welcome to Greg Smith's Cinematic Review. I'm Greg Smith, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about the 1993 Western Tombstone.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Tombstone was loosely based on the exploits of legendary lawman Wyatt Earp. The film starred Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer and Michael Benn, and boasted a terrific supporting cast with the likes of Bill Paxton, and it was bookended with a narration from veteran actor Robert Mitchum. The screenplay was written by a guy called Kevin Jarre, who was hired as the film's original director, that being his first feature film. But Jarre was fired a month into production when he fell way behind in the shooting schedule. George P. Costamos was brought in to replace him, and he is credited as the film's director, but in truth it was actually the film lead, Kurt Russell, that directed the film from behind the scenes at the studio's behest. He decided on the shooting schedule, and he worked tirelessly on the script to pare it down and really hone the narrative, focusing on the relationship between Earp and Halliday. As the film begins, we join a retired Wyatt Earp who's teamed up with his brothers, and they're moving south to Tombstone to try and make their fortune after years of law enforcement and try and finally live as a family. But any notion of a new life is short-lived, as of a gang of outlaws known as the Cowboys, led by the spectacularly named Johnny Ringo, overrun the town, and it isn't long before a reluctant Earp has to take up arms and stand with his brothers and Halliday and face off against them at the legendary gunfight at the OK Corral. In many ways, Tombstone broke new ground when it was released. Up until that point, face-offs had happened at high noon, with one guy standing at the end of the street and the other guy at the other end of the street, and realistically the chances of hitting anything were horseshit. In Tombstone it was up close and personal, only a couple of feet apart, so it really did come down to who was the fastest. In mainstream movies, people always seemed to hit what they were shooting at, with the exception of these guys. One of Tombstone's major strengths is that it moves at a pace. It's exciting. It doesn't feel baggy or bloated. It clocks in around 2 hours, which is quite tight for a Western. They were usually at least 2.5 hours. But crucially, the pace never comes at the expense of the script. It's well written and smart. The characters have depth and insight and allows us to believe in them as people. It also looks fantastic. The costume and set design excel here and gives the film a real sense of style. Another major strength of Tombstone was that it showed the cost of conflict and the cost of violence. After finding out that his younger brother Morgan has been deputised to serve as law enforcement in the town, Wyatt Earp looks his brother in the eye and gives one of the most important speeches of the film.
All those years I worked those cow towns, I was only ever mixed up in one shooting, just one. But a man lost his life and I took it. You don't know how that feels, Morton. Believe me, boy, you don't ever want to know. Not ever.
It's a terrific scene and it's a brilliant delivery by Kurt Russell. It tells us why he's so reluctant to get involved, and he also dispels his own legend by revealing that he's only been mixed up in one shooting. He's only ever taken one life to that point, but that life still haunts him. The performances in this film range from solid to outstanding. The supporting cast is great too. Michael Benn gives a menacing performance as Johnny Ringo with slick gun skills and no conscience. But it's Russell and Kilmer's film, with the latter giving a career best performance. Kilmer imbues Halliday with a charming charisma, and he pretty much steals any scene that he's in. And the scenes between Michael Benn and Val Kilmer are some of the best ever put to film. They're two sides of the same coin. Both men's reputations precede them. Both men are educated and fluent in Latin. Both have outstanding gun skills, and both don't mind killing when it comes down to it. The film does a terrific job of setting up the big question: who's the fastest? And the payoff doesn't disappoint. But in the end, this is a film about friendship. The relationship between the two main characters is the emotional core of the film. The question is asked in Tombstone: how far would you go for a friend when they needed you the most, even if the risk to themselves was great?
Thanks for always being there, Doc.
So if you haven't seen Tombstone before, or you haven't seen it in a while, give it a watch. I highly recommend it, and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.